This is the People Podcast, a podcast at the intersection of business and human resources, where listeners gain invaluable insights of workplace management. Hosted by experts with a deep understanding of HR's pivotal role in organizational success. So tune in and embark on a journey to unlock the full potential of your business. This is the People Podcast.
Welcome to another inspiring episode of the People. Today we sit down with Tara Jackson, a seasoned business leader with over 25 years of invaluable experience. Tara has dedicated herself to empowering today's youth, harnessing her wisdom to ignite positive change. Join us as Tara shares her journey, insights, and vision for shaping the leaders of tomorrow. This is the People with Jessica Judd. Tara, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you reside, just a bit of background there.
Yes, my name is Tara Jackson, Georgia Market President for Smart Staffing. I have approximately 25 years of experience in staffing. Relocated to Georgia from Chicago. I have a passion for people, development of others, contributing to community, and that's what landed me here. So that tells you just a little bit about me. I've had a business, 15 years of youth. I've also did some work within the correctional facility in Chicago as well, developing others and preparing them to enter into the workforce once they exit it. And that's my forte.
So we want to discuss today a little bit about your work with youth and how it is that you've carried over your skill sets as a professional to empower the youth today. Tell us a little about your program, when it started, how it got off the ground, what was your inspiration? Let's start there.
Okay. I was inspired to found Spirit of Beauty, Etiquette and Social Development organization in Chicago. What inspired me to do so is that my upbringing was in Alabama, in the South, and I was always required, it was mandated that I take etiquette classes, faith-based courses, just to develop myself from the inside out. This was a big thing with my family. It instilled in me to treat others the way I wanted to be treated. But most importantly, it instilled in me to know better is to do better. So I felt accountable, and it was required of me just to do for others, to give back, if you will. So Spirit of Beauty allowed me to develop youth and children, because they are our future, to be the change we want to see in the world. So I took those things that I found in the industry that most people were weak in, or they needed guidance in as adults, and I poured that into the youth to try to get them ahead of things, or try to be proactive in addressing those issues that as adults we deal with, or things I've struggled with along the way. I found that was a way of me developing a community and also contributing to our future, about building building youth up from the inside out. Spirit of Beauty afforded us a lot of recognition over the years. Of the 15 years, we have recorded 600 children that have been through the program. We've also did things in Bahamas, believe it or not, through our program. Bahamas, Orlando, Florida, Washington. We've done things in a lot of different areas where we were able to spread the word, and we did it in a fun way so the children learn etiquette, life skills. We also incorporated performing arts and public speaking to keep it engaging, and also keep it where their interests stayed there, because we didn't want it just to be a hardcore curriculum all the way through. The classes were on Saturdays, 5 hours a Saturday. So yes, it was strong commitment there. But I feel that I fulfilled my purpose by developing others.
That's awesome. So when a girl comes through the program, run us through what that looks like for her. So you have breakout sessions. What kind of skills are you sharing with them? What does the journey look like for someone engaged in this program?
Yes, the program consisted of a lot of things a lot of us take for granted. Those things that make us productive adults. Our day would start with a round table, if you will, as if we were family, but we would be standing, joining hands. We had our own pledge that we recited, that we were required to remember. We had uniforms. It became a family-like environment. But the things that we spoke about, we even had a cheerleading team, but we cheered for success. We cheered for prosperity. We cheered for life in abundance. Our cheers consisted of affirmations. So we would start our day out by speaking that positivity to lift ourselves up. Then we had breakout sessions. Our sessions consisted of life skills when it comes to being able to prioritize your day, things that we take for granted when it came to chores. Um, we had sewing classes and cooking classes and public speaking classes, how to effectively speak, how to respond to our elders, how to carry ourselves, how to dress, how to form relationships with others and be in control of our emotions, how to be trustworthy, how to work with work ethic. Even as small children, our program was for 6 to 16. But teaching children, even at 6, the accountability when you are giving something to be responsible for, how to care for it, how to be appreciative, how not to destroy, but to build, how to invest. These were things that even children at 6, 7, 8 years old could embrace, and they learned the value of money. They learned the value of themselves. They learned how special they were, no matter what anyone else said. So just to build them up to be that person that they were created to be, keep them strong, no matter what obstacles may be going on around them, to stay strong and to persevere, to get through things. Most importantly, to reach out when they're in need of help or when they feel like they're in danger, or so that they don't crumble. Just trying to build. Our classes consist of building them up from the inside out. Like I say, many things that we now as adults take for granted, or that people take for granted, that's a real true skill set to get you through your life. We tried to instill that into the children. I had a staff of 10. The classes, they would pass classes throughout the day. It was a 5-hour program on Saturday, very structured. And that pretty much, wraps up what the program encompassed.
Sure. Okay. So off the back of that, considering your extensive background in etiquette and social development, what professional skills do you deem most vital for the empowerment of today's youth?
Presence. Being able to, number one, speak well, communicate well, be respectful of yourself and others. And then we go into punctuality, being able to stay on task, do what you say you're going to do, and do it well. Don't overpromise. These basic soft skills are things that develop a professional person. Being able to lead by example. Be that person that you want that you respect. On time for interviews, dressing appropriate, being able, I can't stress enough talking to the kids about being on time. What does it mean to be on time? What does it mean once you're given instruction to complete that task to the end? Just everything about that presentation of a person. Many things that we expect in our employees today, we were teaching children to be that as kids, even if they were attending a basketball, they're on a basketball team or on a softball team or on a cheerleading team at school. Those characteristics of being a good team player, being a contributor, not a person that's downing, seeing the best in other people and whatever you're engaged in, being a contributor. So these are things that I feel like now today, and it comes from within. I feel hurt people sometimes hurt people. So teaching them how to process a lot of those, emotions that they may encompass within themselves, so that they are better individuals and can pour more into their future and into others.
You've led a diverse set of initiatives aimed at youth empowerment. So how are you tailoring your programs to meet the needs of diverse groups, such as young women and those that are from underrepresented communities?
Okay, well, doing more research, but what I find is no matter our culture and our backgrounds, when it comes down to the basics of developing a person to be the change that we want to see in the world. It doesn't really matter what color you are or what background you are. I believe in the foundation of creating a person. And I say that generally, but I really and truly feel passionate about it. You know, no matter what our race is, no matter what our background is, when it comes down to manners and self-esteem and self-confidence and building a person up from the inside, those things are basic traits. No matter who you are, where you come from, we're inside. We still need the same thing to grow. And doing research in regards to we may need different things to build another person up. When it comes to, they may need a little bit more of this or a little bit more of that, but it's that those core ingredients are going to be the same. So just determining how much more of me that you need is based on my experience with that individual. I mean, the same way with a candidate for employment, they may have certain skills, and they have the potential to do this job well, but they may need a little bit more coaching than the next person that may have similar experience or background. And it doesn't mean that they can't do well in that position. It just means that we got to spend a little bit more time with them to provide them what it would take to make them whole. I don't think that has anything to do personally with a race or with diversity. I think it's an individual thing because it's all about exposure and what they've lacked or what they've been exposed to.
That's awesome. So people are people, basically, right? We've all got fundamental needs that are going to be the same across the board. You've made a lot of impact. Can you share a particular story where a young person's life was transformed through the skills that were taught through your program?
Yeah. In regards to a youth program, with the youth program, there was a young lady in Chicago that lived, about 45 miles away from where the center was that we were hosting our classes. She had never been in a car before. She was 15 years old, believe it or not. Her family had never owned a car. They did everything via bus transportation. So she would catch 4 buses to get to this facility every Saturday and to get back home. So one Saturday we had an event after class, and because the event lasted quite a while and it was dark when we finished, I told her I would take her home. So she said, "You're taking me home in your car?" I said, "Yes." She said, "But I don't know my way in a car because I've never been in a car." And she's 15 years old. It was like a tearjerker. So I'm like, 15, and she had never driven in a car. Her mother never allowed her to ride in a car with anyone before because of safety. They just was a family that just had not been afforded that. So I took her home, but I ended up having to drive the route that the bus took her because she didn't know she didn't know any other route. She was like, "I don't know any other route but this one." But long or the short, where I'm going with this, that scenario empowered me to want to empower her. It's like she gave me the strength to want to continue to do what I was doing, to change lives. And we were able to assist her with driving classes when she became 16. Not only that, she became a driver. We were able to connect her with some scenarios where she actually ended up with a car. This young lady went from having a car to going to college to now she has a PhD. It's been some time ago, but now she has a PhD. But I'm just saying, seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, where this started from not just Spirit of Beauty, but it started from that ride home to just being touched by it being so heartfelt that you just couldn't believe you haven't been in a car to the point where you don't even know your way to the bus. But she stayed in the program because the program ended at 16, but she stayed in the program to 16. And then we continued to work with her, but then she ended up coming back to the program as one of the teachers and mentors because she felt compelled. So it was almost just, it just was a give back and a give back. And it continued, and she continued to pour it into others and tell them her story and show them that there's light at the end of the tunnel. That story goes on because I'm still connected with her. And now she's pouring into me because of where she is in her life and the experiences life has afforded her because of where she is professionally. And she says she'll never forget that. So it's just a good feeling. It's just a good feeling, and it keeps me going. I have many stories about employees that we hired to come in, candidates. They're kind of down on their luck or whatever, and they're having to resort to contingent or contracted employment because they're either between jobs or they've been suddenly laid off and yet to find a full-time position with benefits, and they have families. When I did some work with Goodwill Workforce Connection Center, and there I was required to not only find employment for participants that were in situations, such disadvantaged situations, but then I had to follow the employment 90 days to make sure they were on time. They had the proper attire. And once again, there was a lady that had become unemployed, and not only unemployed, homeless, because she couldn't find something fast enough to catch up the mortgage or whatever. And it was she and her children. And she had 5 kids. And just to be able to be there for her and see her through and find employment for her and make sure those children, it was employment that was the power for them. I believe in the power of work. And that's what keeps me in this industry. It was the power of work that saved her life. And she was willing to save her life and her children's life because it kept food on the table, et cetera, et cetera. It went on and on. But it's just truly heartfelt when it comes to what work will do for those that want to help. It gives you a sense of belonging. It gives you a sense of respect and self-respect and respect for others. And it gives you a blessing to be able to pour into others. So she was able, as a single mom, to move mountains. And she ended up being able to acquire another home and put her kids back in a school that was safe and secure in a better neighborhood. But it was through work. It was through pouring into her and coaching her along and passing on those things that I had been taught and trained to do that assisted her with getting where she needed to get. And it all started with that self-esteem, self-confidence, and that job.
I think it's phenomenal that you found a way to take your years of experience as a professional and share that with the next generation as they're coming up. I think that's going to mean that you're not going to have as many people that are lacking in some of the skill sets that you see with some candidates that walk in the door that need a little bit more assistance in refining themselves. So education is key. With that, what piece of advice would you offer to mentors and educators who want to foster professional skills and self-esteem in young people?
I suggest that they start with themselves. Leaders lead by example. And the youth today are so different than what they were. You have to show them. You have to be that example. You can't say one thing and do another. And I think we're able to change others, especially the youth, is by showing them that it works. And the only way they know it works is to see us doing it. And start with the basics. I mean, I know it's a digital world, and you have to kind of meet them where they are. You can't be over their head trying to teach and groom them because you're not meeting them where they are. You have to take the time to do some discovery. You have to take some time to put yourself in their shoes and be empathetic. And I think that's the key to meeting them. It's not a whole bunch of education and a whole bunch of degrees that's going to get us there. It's what's in your heart. And everyone is not cut out for it because you also have to have patience. You have to have some understanding, and you have to do it with a firm hand. And it's difficult sometimes to do all of those things. But I feel like some of us got a purpose, some of us got a passion, some of us got a gift. And when you have those things, it's heartfelt. And it's just very basic. To me, it's basic. It's just basic. Just be that person that you want to see in them and show them that it works.
You mentioned they're meeting them where they're at. So at the moment, the world is absolutely changing. Like you said, we've got that whole digital aspect. How are you trying to incorporate that in your program so that you're preparing youth for those careers that might not even exist yet?
Yeah, really doing research. And now what I'm trying to do is find a location here in Georgia so that I can continue the business. Because now that I'm in Georgia, I'm not doing Spirit of Beauty because I'm still seeking a location that's going to be affordable and suitable for
Great.
the program. But doing a lot of research, and then also having, when you're speaking with youth, just kind of identifying where their strengths are and trying to see how those skills would be more transferable to something that would be great. And it requires research and seeing where their interests are, and then also trying to see what they're willing to do. What are you willing to do? Because you got to go above and beyond. You have to be a person that wants to work hard, and just forming. It's a discovery process. What they're good at, what they would like to be good at, guiding them in that direction to what is it going to require of them educationally. Is it a vocational school? Is it a traditional college experience? Is it an on-the-job training program? Is it going into the service and going from that perspective, getting into school, if that's what it's going to get you there because of financial burdens, or it's just so many ways to get them to where they need to go and to explore so many. The world is so open to them now. It's so much more that they can do. Sometimes entrepreneurship is best for some, guiding them in that direction, depending on where their mindset is. So it's not a one size fit all. And the only way you can identify what's up and coming and what's going to match where they are and where they desire to be is to talk to them more and discover where they are. Yeah. And because it may be an IT world, but if they're not IT driven, they are not necessarily a student that's going to be, they weren't a good student in grammar. They wasn't a good student in middle school and high school. They barely went. Then why set them up for failure? Put them in a scenario that's going to be more suitable to what their needs are and kind of tailor forming it instead of a one size fit all.
For sure. And I think, there's still a lot to be said about the trades industry as well. We're always going to need those people that are hands-on, right? So it's about aligning.
I totally agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah. Especially here in the South. Yep. Especially here in the South. We hear that a lot from clients. They can't find people with trades anymore. They're just not out there. And then there's so many individuals now retiring out of the field. And they're lacking in that area, and it's a lot of money to be made with carpenters. Gosh, we get so many positions open for maintenance technicians, and it's just not out there. But it's a lot of people that's capable and able to do those jobs and do them well.
So tell me, what is it that you're in need of to start this program in the wider Atlanta area in Georgia? What is it you're looking for in terms of the location? How can the community support you with that?
I would like to find a location that's maybe in an area that children can't necessarily get to. Like, I wouldn't want to necessarily be in the heart of the city, metropolitan Atlanta, because maybe those children maybe they're a little bit more advantaged and they may have more opportunity in those areas. I would like to be more south and more in the rural areas of Georgia where I can reach those children that could better benefit from the program because they are unable to venture out. That would be my desire, somewhere that's approximately 1,500 square feet, 1,200 square feet. We will make it work. Safe neighborhood, not asking for much, but I'm just looking for something that's going to be affordable and suitable for the children. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're doing really important work. I feel like it really aligns well with the company we work for, right? We have that give back as part of our mission statement, and you're absolutely killing it by carrying on your skill set to the next generation. I'm going to add a link below. Anyone's listening to this, you can reach out to me directly via email, and we will put you in contact with Tara if you feel you have some resources that you could share to help this really important program keep progressing in the local at Georgia region. Tara, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for sharing some of your time and your wisdom. And we'll see you next time for our next episode of The People People. Stay safe out
Okay,
there.
thank you. Thank you for having me.